Hello everybody and welcome to In My Mug episode 242 on Monday the 1st of July 2013. I am your host Stephen Layton and this week I bring you flowers. More will become apparent just after the news and 20 seconds on, but after the news! So, I have been in Nice all week. Well, not strictly true. I'm in Nice tomorrow, but this is coming out next. You kind of get what I'm talking about. I'll be doing the Tamper Tantrum live stage. I am very excited about it. I'm looking forward to the content from it. And you should go look at tampertantrum.com for all of the hard work of that week, where you will see me also wearing a shirt and tie. Don't ask why the shirt and tie. Actually, ask why the shirt and tie, and I'll say to you, I've just finished filming the video for the next guest blend, which is launched on the evening of the 1st of July, and it is going to be huge, as I said to you last week. Now, this video is going to be out before that video and that releases, so I'm not going to spoil it. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but boy is it big. And if you subscribed, you'll be patting yourself on the back and saying, what a clever person you are, because this one is going to be super expensive, it's super interesting, and it's super original, I think. But let me know. I love your feedback as always. And that was the short of news. Okay, so it's time for 20 seconds on, and this week it's going to be on Katay. Let me see those fingers. Let me see those fingers. And the varietal Katay is related to Yellow Caturra and Munda Novo, and it originates from Brazil. It's best suited at growing 800 metres or above sea level, and is a hybrid. It's very prevalent in Brazil, Central America and South America, and its main colour is yellow, but there is some red. It's a dwarf variety of plant which doesn't grow very high and is its very obvious distinguisher. 20 seconds on. So this is a hybrid that came around in the 50s, 60s and came from the Institute Agronomico, which is in Brazil, which is a place where they do lots of work. The fruit is quite unusual as it doesn't easily come from the branch, which is really good in windy kind of places where there's not much cover and you get a lot of kind of change in wind. Pest and kind of disease, it's in the middle. It's not particularly strong, it's not particularly weak. But the reason this was chosen for the farm we're going to talk about today is that it is incredibly open on this farm and it is incredibly exposed to the wind. So the farm is called Nicaragua, country, Finca Mina, Katay washed. And it's kind of like a coffee I chased for a long time. I am so happy that all of the work that we did last year getting it. So I've been on trying to get this for a long time. It's made it to a second year. So when a coffee makes a second year, it's pretty much that you get, and it's the way it tends to turn out, you get first dibs on the following season's crop. So I'm kind of pleased that all of that work has turned into us getting this regularly. So this farm first came to my attention in 2008 when I got to try a very tiny sample of it when I was travelling in Nicaragua, which was my second trip to Nicaragua, and my first time visiting Limoncello. And I got to try it at the mill. Loved the coffee, like really, really stood out off the cupping table. It was something pretty spectacular. I think it actually went on to come second in the Cup of Excellence that year. It was that big a deal. Very, very special coffee. And then I went knocking on Erwin's door and was like, Erwin, can I buy this coffee, please? And he said, no, there's not enough of it, because it was just such a new planting on the farm. Used to be called Finca La Manita, but people in the coffee industry and people who are particularly geeky like me will know that La Manita is a very famous farm in Costa Rica. And they decided that was actually not going to be so good. They took over the farm in 2008, and unfortunately that year Erwin's mother passed away, Mama Mina McEwen, and it kind of thought, we need to change the name. what do we change it to? And it seemed like a really fitting tribute for this brand new farm that they were looking to do all of these exciting things on would be called Mama Mina. Because of that, they have spent a little bit longer, I think, than normal beautifying this place. And when I got to visit it, not last year, the year before, wow. Like, in between all of the coffee plants, there are flowers, and beautiful looking flowers. And you'll see if you go and look at the product description that they're... In fact, I may even drop one on the screen at some point, either here or on the map bit. But it's an absolutely beautiful farm. It's very meticulously laid out. The people who work there have very much looked after the farm as well. And it is surrounded, it's in like this beautiful valley, so as you drive in, you just kind of, you're met by all of these flowers. Now, I don't know if this is my mind playing trick on me, and when we come to cup it, you'll see, but the flowers, I think, have a influence on the coffee. I don't know why, I can't tell you, I'm not that clever, but it is a very, very beautiful place to go visit. Also, the smell, that was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, it just came back to me, is the perfume on this farm as you walk on, and as you walk around it, and as you walk in between the coffee trees. It's just amazing. And they've actually took this principle that they did on Mama Mina and started to do it on other farms. So, for instance, farms. So, for instance, Milagros and Escondida, two other farms of theirs, and also Limoncillo. They've started to plant these farms. They've found that they don't compete with the coffee plants, but it just makes it a beautiful place to be working. Catayi, the varietal I was talking about in 20 seconds, is seen as not necessarily a specialty coffee. You don't see so many, but for this farm it is perfectly suited, as I was saying, because of that wind thing. It really does make a difference, and the whole soil balance, everything, it's been picked with 100% that in mind. Erwin, who is the son of Dr. Maresh, who owns the farm, is a very clever guy when it comes to picking varietals and picking the right varietals, not just to sell and not just for the cut profile, but also for the land. So we should talk about the numbers. It's called Finca Mama Mina, owned by Dr. Maresh and run by his daughter and son, and the other daughter has some involvement in the mill as well. Altitude of 1,250 metres to 1,375 metres above sea level. It is a Catayi and it is a fully washed. So now it is time for the super wonderful map bit.
It's the map bit. No expense spent. It's the map bit.
And we are here again. And I think you do know the drill by now, but we have to go down. There we go. And we'll come back up. And we're going across to Central America again. I know there's been a lot of Central Americans recently, but they are all tasting delicious. But let's look at the details of Central America. So we have a number of coffee-growing countries, 7, population of 42 million, give or take a few 100,000, surface area of 524,000 square kilometres. Compare that to the UK, 243,000 square kilometres. So let's go down to Nicaragua, because this is where we're looking today. Nicaragua, we kind of buy from this very centralised part here, and that's mainly because of the Maresh family that this coffee is also from. They've really looked after us and we love working with them. We should find out the details of the country. So the country is called Nicaragua, has a population of 5.8 million, 129,000 square kilometres, about half the size of the UK. Capital is Managua, and it is the second poorest country in the northern hemisphere after Haiti, I think it is, which is not a good statistic to have, but beautiful people. So here we've got a little triangle. We've got Escondida to the left, we've got Limoncillo to the right, and then we have Mama Mina just above it there, kind of a little bit separated from the farms. It is next door to another farm we used to buy from as well, which is called Los Altos, which is a big favourite of mine, but we haven't seen for a while. So name of the farm is called Finca Mama Mina, altitude of 1,375 metres at its highest. The varietal of this one is Catayi, as we said, and the nearest town is Jinotega, which is a fairly largest town, and I think the whole region is actually named Jinotega. Thank you, Dale the Cow, for that. So here's a mountainside view. You can kind of get an idea of the topography. It is a hilly part. It is super hilly.
But very, very beautiful farm as well, as I said in the description. The flowers and things are just absolutely super amazing. This gives you a rough idea of kind of how mountainous it is. And that was the map bit.
So I have no idea if this week's map bit is good or not, because I don't think I've done Mamma Mina. In fact, last year I don't think we had enough Mamma Mina to do an In My Mug with. So I have no idea if I'm going to be able to find it on the map, but I'm certainly going to try, and I'm certainly going to pester Erwin for the coordinates. But now it's time for Roland's Daft Fact of the Week.
Roland's Daft Fact of the Week.
Over 50% of the coffee planted in Brazil is from the Cataí varietal, and there's an awful lot of coffee in Brazil.
Roland's Daft Fact of the Week.
Indeed, that boy is right. I think there is a song about it. Yeah, used to be my ringtone before it was very uncool too. Okay, so Wheel of Death. Last week we had V60. This week I am adding milk, my favourite thing, and Wheel of Death, where it goes, nobody knows, and Roland Gifford cares. Macchiato. So macchiato is the Wheel of Death this week. Should work quite well actually. That could work with this coffee. So I'm going to whap you on pause. I'm going to go and make tasty and delicious drinks, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. And I'm back, and I'm diving straight into the espresso. Give it a quick stir. So at the start, I said that I was bringing you flowers. And that's what I've got here. I have a big bouquet of flowers being waved in my mouth. In fact, I feel like I'm chewing on some flowers. It is so floral, it's scary. It's very, very, very delicate. And I can't help but thinking that these flowers planted in between... I wish I didn't know about it. But the first time I cooked it, I didn't know about it, and it tasted of us. So maybe there is something in it. I don't know. Maybe they planted flowers because it was such a floral coffee. Or maybe I need to ask Erwin. So I've got macchiato. I'm going to give it a stir, just so it's... Excuse me just a moment while I finish off my clever drip. What's clever about the clever dripper? Nothing. That's what's clever about it. So, macchiato is espresso with a mark of milk. I don't like that description at all. It's a tiny bit of milk with an espresso. I think this will help this, because one thing that this coffee does lack, if anything, is a little bit of sweetness. So this will give it a little bit more sweetness. See, I quite like macchiatos just because milk is good. Like, milk makes espresso more easier to drink. It makes it a slightly larger drink. But that's very nice indeed. Yeah. I will have a macchiato if I go in a coffee shop where they have big cups. I'll be too frightened to have the big cup. So, are we there yet? Okay, I'm going to stop it there because there's not much left to come through. It's just a little bit in the bottom. And time for the brood. My make tea not war, because I know that what I'm going to get now will fit this cup quite well. It's a problem when you know a coffee quite well, that you obviously know what's coming a little bit. But there we go. It's black tea. I mean, it really does have a black tea quality to it, and there's that whole floral thing still there. What is here a little bit more is jasmine. It's very, very kind of like coffee blossom jasmine. It's refreshing, it's light, it's delicate, it's a gentle coffee, and it's ideally suited to the brood. Espresso, it's not so much. Macchiato is actually really tasty, and I'm pleased that came up on the Wheel of Death. I don't feel any death from that at all. It was very good. We should move on to the pinboard of doom, and this week's pinboard was sent in by HERM Barista on Twitter. So Herm Barista, which is Hermitage Barista from Hermitage Road in somewhere down south. You should definitely go visit them. Follow her and Barista and they'll tell you where they are. And it was a tweet and it said, in Switzerland, water quality flavour really works with our new blend. And it's a few weeks old, but I think this was like end of March, beginning of April. But yeah, it's a beautiful picture. I think you'll agree. Beautiful setting, and I am very, very, very envious. It is time for Steve's Vine of the Week! And we actually have one this week. Our Vine of the Week this week was sent in by Faracas Team. I can't. That's terrible pronunciation, isn't it? I should have maybe practiced that. But they are on Twitter as Zen Barista, at Zen Barista, and here it is. And that's awesome because that's 2 vines sent in. So please, more vines, more vines. I have no one lined up for next week. If you don't send next week, it stops. It finishes. It's over. We'll be done with it. And I don't want it to be done. I like it. Or I might do another one and it'll be me going. Anyway, time to wrap up. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. And do remember, life is too short for bad coffee, I believe.